Well, Crohn's disease is essentially like a inner intestinal disease that affects digestion and general intake of vitamins and minerals and whatnot. So basically, layman's terms, it prevents you from getting the nutrients you need from your food. So you have to compensate for that by eating healthier and getting vitamins and like taking certain medications to try to prevent scarring and stuff, which can occur, that narrows the intestine and such things. So there's a whole bunch of other stuff that goes along with it. I don't really know,
but. So what are some of the symptoms of Crohn's?
Symptoms can be anywhere from like weight loss, which is a big one, which is kind of obvious, and then stomach cramps, vomiting, just general kind of sick feeling, stuff like that, and yeah, just looking unhealthy as well. That's one thing my mom noticed. She said when I first started looking unhealthy.
So when were you first diagnosed with Crohn's?
I was actually, what was it, my 9th birthday. I went to the doctor's just for a regular checkup, and I wasn't feeling well, and my mom had noticed something different. And then a couple weeks later, we actually got the diagnosis, and it was at first I had no idea what was going on. Like I just went in for a bunch of tests and was like kind of somewhat uninformed, and then after a while, like a couple of years before I really understood what was going on.
So is Crohn's curable?
Crohn's itself is not curable. However, in the past like 5-6 years, there's been quite a few advances in the medication that's available, and so there's I'm always switching back and forth from medication to medication just because there's not one that's really great, because there's some that make you kind of feel good, but your chemical in your blood aren't looking as well, and then like vice versa, you won't be feeling as well, but your blood workups will be looking good, and so they're always trying to juggle that.
Does stress flare up your symptoms then?
Yeah, it definitely does. It can create like problems for the most part, and I know I've talked to people that have said that stress is pretty much the reason why they have Crohn's. It's stress induced. So mine, of course, was not, but it definitely can have a negative effect, which is something I have to manage as well. So
you really have to be on top of like managing a healthy lifestyle and your symptoms. And
exactly,
like
just as a whole, between eating and stress and like exercise and everything, you just kind of have to keep a balance. And, like I think I'm doing pretty good at it, and after a while, it just kind of becomes natural habit, which is nice. And like I said, I've had it for a while, so I know what works for me and I know what doesn't, and so after a while, you just kind of get into a rhythm.
So have you been limited, I guess, then, on the things you can eat then? I mean, do you still have symptoms of the disease?
I definitely do, and I definitely have to watch out for some stuff. Like, there's certain things, like, talking to my doctor, like, he's basically saying that since I'm young, I have a lot of damage I can do to my body still without it really affecting me. But there, like, certain, like, smoking, doing stuff like that, drugs just would be horrible just because it would counteract a lot of things that I'm doing. And then of course there's certain foods, individual foods, that react differently. Like they say like raw vegetables are hard to digest, and like acidic sauces and stuff like that are also hard, but for the most part I try to just keep it balanced, and I notice what I feel good and when I feel what makes me not feel good. So
what about do you have to stay away from alcohol, or does that not really relate to the disease?
They said in moderation it doesn't really affect it, but of course, like everything else, it's not the best for you. But they said it's not too bad.
Have people treated you any differently once they found out you had Crohn's?
That is one thing that, like, at first I definitely say yes. Like, when I was a sophomore in high school, I had surgery, and like even from like freshman year to like junior year, it was totally different. Like freshman year, a lot of people just thought I was like you know, a normal kid that was just kind of shorter than the average kid. But like by sophomore, junior year, everyone was like treating me differently, and the fact that like I was somewhat different. And honestly, I didn't like that just because I felt like I shouldn't be treated any different or acted different towards. And that's why, especially after I came to college, like I really didn't talk about it that much, except for maybe a few close friends. But it's like I don't think of myself as different. Like it's just something that is kind of a random task I had to take care of outside of everyday life, but I would definitely rather most people don't think of me as different. And like, I don't need special attention of any sort. So
I can understand that.
yeah, so I just take care of what I have to do, and like, I don't know, getting help is always good, but special attention is not what I'm looking for. So.
You don't want it to define you.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I am who I am, and like, it is part of me, but it's not who, like you said, defines me. So,
Right.
for the most part, I just kind of like try to have a positive attitude, and like think, for every yin there's a yang. There's got to be something out of it that's good. So you got to look for the positives. I guess I try to keep a positive attitude is really the only way to go.
I guess on that note, then, what are some of the positives have you found from you having the disease?
Well, for example, just like getting to know different types of people, getting to know like groups and organizations that might or might help in general and whatnot, and I don't know, some of the different things I probably would have done versus what I wouldn't have done. Like I tried to play sports in high school as well, but I'd like tried out for soccer, but I just wasn't big enough and fast enough, so I ended up doing drama most of my high school career, which I wouldn't have done because I know I would have tried to do sports the entire time. And so it's just different things like that you get motivated to do something else just based on the fact that you may be limited, but you can't just get down on yourself for not succeeding in what you want to do because there's other options out there. So gotta think ahead and motivate yourself to stay with whatever, whether it be sports or drama or school or whatever you're into. So
Good answer. So is there, I guess to wrap it up, is there anything about Crohn's that people don't know that you'd want them to know?
well, essentially it's like, yeah, it's a disease that's it's definitely a part of your life that you have to take care of and people should respect, but it's not something that defines who a person is, like you said earlier. So each person is individual, and like if they need their own personal space, then of course they deserve that, but at the same time they want to be just like everyone else, so they want to be part of the group. So if they think they can do something physically or just whatever they need to do for themselves, like if I'm trying to do a task or meet a goal and certain steps along the way require me to do something that usually I wouldn't do or steps outside of my normal routine, I would hope that most people would respect that and not try to like, oh, why are you doing that? Like, don't you know it's like gonna hurt your disease or something? It's like, I'd rather that not be a major part of who I am. And also, like, I feel like a lot of people are the same way. Friends that I have and family that I know that have had it or similar diseases are the same way. They'd rather just live their life and that be part of their life, but not really be who they are. So.